David Morgan from the Morgan Report in the studios of Investment Pitch in the beautiful city of Vancouver, British Columbia, my favorite city in Canada. With me today, Mark Brown. Mark, you and I have a history going back. We won't go over that. It's been a favorable one, though. But Avrupa Minerals is what we're here to talk about today. And so I'm going to just turn it right over to you. Who, what, when, where, and why?
Well, we started Avrupa about 4 years ago. And it was a CPC company. We raised about $4 million. And it was going to follow the prospect generator model. And Avrupa is actually Turkish for Europe. So the stock symbol is AVU on the TSX, and we basically named it because we're focused on exploration in Europe.
Let me stop you with the prospect generator. I mean, I know what that is, you know what that is, but for people that don't, especially in today's environment where I have stressed in the Morgan Report, you should pretty much hold producing companies that have, good cash flow, which is hard to find with these low metal prices.
Yes.
But what is a prospect generator, and why would I be interested in one now?
Well, as you well know, the exploration business is extremely risky. Investing in a company that is looking at one little project is extremely, extremely risky, and sometimes it works out very nicely, and when it does, they do fantastic. We mitigate that risk by following the prospect generator model. So we're looking for projects in Europe in known mining districts. Prospect generation means we do the early stage, the inexpensive work in the exploration phase, and then we bring in a partner. And the benefits of that are twofold. The partner spends the money on the more expensive drilling on the property. They also have their own geological oversight. So it's not just our geologists looking at the project. Their geologists approve it, and they monitor what we're doing throughout the program. So it's a way of mitigating our risk in a few different facets. In addition to that, our company, the money we raised, we can keep our share structure a lot tighter. So for every dollar we've raised, we've actually spent about $1.50 on exploration, which most companies can't say because a lot of that money that they raise would go to general and administration costs. So we're really, really focused on making a big discovery, and we're looking in elephant territory. So we're looking for big discoveries in areas of Europe that are known mining areas. We're using partners' money to do it. And it's a number of ways to mitigate that high risk for these exploration companies.
Well said. So you've got three main areas. You've got Germany, you've got Portugal, and you've got Kosovo. So why don't we address those in any order you wish?
Well, it's been an exciting year in 2014 for us. The guys really hit it out of the park in February. We announced a fantastic hole, 10.8 meters of 1.8% copper, 2% lead, and 4% zinc, which is absolutely fantastic. In southern Portugal, and it's 50 kilometers away from where the Neves Corvo mine is, which is an operating mine, which is about 250 million ton mine owned by the Lundin group there. So we hit that one hole, and then we continued on this year to hit 8 other holes after that. Now that potential deposit is along a 1.8 kilometer stretch. So that's fantastic, and that's in a known mining area in the Iberian Pyrite Belt of southern Portugal. It's mining friendly. The country of Portugal is actually promoting mining because they're in financial trouble and they need more industry there. So it's been very good for us. Our partner on that project is Antofagasta Minerals out of Chile. They funded $6 million on that project so far, and they were very happy with it. We've had a major success there. So that's Portugal. We also have, in northern Portugal, we have a joint venture on a tungsten project. I'm not going to go into that too much, but we've been drilling on this project for quite a while, and we're getting ready to estimate our first resource there, our maiden resource. So that should be coming out this year also. Lately, everyone's been super excited about Kosovo. So Kosovo was a project that we could not get a lot of attention on, and finally we found a partner to come in and fund later stage exploration, and it's a private mining group out of Australia, actually. So they're a contract miner, so if we found anything, we knew they could be a miner. But we did some trenching there, did 1.6 kilometers of trenching, and we sampled the trenches and we found some 10 gram plus gold in the trenches in multiple places. So we started a drill program, and first drill programs are highly risky. You don't really expect to find too much, but our fourth hole hit a real barn burner, 126 meters of 6 grams per ton gold. Compared when your average gold deposit these days, people are happy if it's over 1 gram. 6 grams is amazing. 126 meters is a very long intercept, but we do think that that went right down the throat of this potential deposit. So I have to put that as a disclaimer. We have follow-up holes now that we've done, and we'll be drilling across it at a right angle to where we think it is, and we'll have those results coming out fairly soon. And our last little area there is Germany, and we haven't been doing a lot there, but we've got a nice little project in the Erzgebirge area of Germany. It's a historic mining area where there's tin mining. And the reason we got those projects is because they had some maps where old prospectors were in the area doing a lot of gold panning. So we'll see what happens in that area coming up over the next couple of years.
Okay, well, let me circle back to Kosovo and ask you politically what, because I'm going to get asked the question, and I would ask as an investor, what's the political stability there as you see it?
Well, we have a couple of things that help us there. Number one, we've had these projects through the company acquired for quite a while. So they're well established on ownership of the projects. There's no issues there. We also have a couple of German fellows, Paul Nellis in particular, who actually advise the government of Portugal. And they're also advisors with us. And they're shareholders of our company. They have basically led us through the process of getting mineral tenure and mineral projects in Kosovo. In Kosovo itself, it's not even officially a country yet. The UN is setting it up as a country, so they follow all the kind of best practices rules that the UN recommends, which is easy for us because we follow those kind of practices in Canada and the United States, so we're used to that. So we're very comfortable there. We've dropped properties, we've acquired new properties, and it's all gone very smoothly. The underlying thing I should mention, though, is that Kosovo is a country that's early stage, and they want to be successful, and they need more employment. So they're very, very keen on having us in there doing as much work as we can. We're employing local people. The people in the areas where we work are all very friendly towards mining. They would love for us to be successful there and build a mine there.
Very good. Well, let's start talking a little bit on the financial side. Let's talk about the share structure, the dilution potential, and how it's held.
It's a good point. I mentioned earlier that a lot of the money we raise comes from our partners, so we don't have to raise as much money. But we've been pretty successful raising money even in a poor market, and that's really helped by the discoveries that our geologists have made. We have about 44 million shares outstanding. There's about 5 people who own over 40% of those shares. My company is a large shareholder. We own around 12% of the company. And one of the other philosophies that we follow is that everybody in the company, whether it's our accountants and leaders in Portugal or in Germany or in Kosovo, everybody has not only options, but almost everybody's a big shareholder of the company. So from my point of view, I'm the one who goes out and raises most of the money for the company, and I participate in every financing, so we put our money where our mouth is. We're not here to make money from G&A. We're not here to make money by charging fees. We are here to make money by the company doing what it's been doing and making discoveries and being successful that way. And so far, it's working out really nicely.
Great. Now let's talk about the share price, because this is one of probably the bright spots in the resource sector, especially on the exploration side, which there are so few companies left. Where did you start the year and where did you end the year in 2014?
We started the year, I think it was 6 or 8 cents, and it was tough. We raised a little bit of money at the beginning of the year at 10 cents. And we do need money to pay for all the auditors and lawyers and all those things. We still have to do all that like everybody else. We try to keep those costs down, but we raised a little bit of money early in the year, and our stock price went up really, really well from 6 to 20 cents on the announcement of the discovery in Portugal. And then we had 3 other sets of drill results out during the year that were also all very good. And then it got kind of quiet in the fall. I mean, it's just been a terrible year for the junior resource market. Gold's been lagging, and that really leads the way for these little companies. But fast forward to December 2014, we announced this massive hole in Kosovo, and our share price went from 20 cents. It actually went up to a high of 40, and it pulled back to 30, and it's about 35 cents today. And previous to that, at the end of the summer, we had raised about $1 million at 25 cents. So we're in good place. We're in a good place financially right now. We have about $500,000 in cash in the bank. But what's more important is not only do we have our partners spending money on the projects, we're the operator of all the projects. And so the 3 projects we have joint ventured out, we earn fees actually, which cover our G&A costs for operating those projects.
So with an exploration company, I know and you know that the odds are against you. I mean, it's like 1 in 2,000 or 1 in 4,000, depending on which mining handbook you pick up is actually successful. You've got 3 areas, so that of course mitigates the risk. You're well capitalized. You obviously are believers because you hold so many shares. So where is that point where the discovery is big enough where you're pretty assured in today's market that somebody from a larger mining concern is going to come in and say, yeah, we like it well enough? Can you give us, and no one knows the exact number. I mean,
Yes.
I know the rule of thumb for Newmont, but that's different from a mid-tier that's looking to pick up resources. Can you take us through that thought process a little bit?
Well, it comes down to our partners on these projects a lot. In our tungsten project, well, each one is different. On our tungsten project, we expect our partner to carry that. They're a group that's actually discovered, advanced, and sold a tungsten project before, and that's why they're our partner there. So we let them handle all that side of it, and we'll be along for the ride in that project. In southern Portugal, Antofagasta is our partner, and they're London-listed, a multi-billion-dollar company. They could buy us out without even thinking about it. In fact, they've just recently bought out Duluth Minerals, one of their other partners. So that's possible. And on the other side, we never know with these major companies. They could have their budgets cut, which has been happening a lot this year, and they could drop the project. We just don't know. We just know we've got a discovery to us that looks very, very good. They need to decide if it's big enough and how much more work they were going to do. And at that point, it's a really interesting joint venture deal with Antofagasta, because when they keep spending to do a full feasibility study until they earn into 80%. At 20%, we are carried financially. So we actually don't have to dilute to stay in at 20% of that project. The deal is that they will fund all our 20%, and then when it becomes a mine, we will repay them from our share of the revenues from the mine. So that joint venture is a really great joint venture for us. It doesn't lead to any dilution for us at all. And we can sit back, and if Antofagasta wants to own the last 20%, they can buy the company, or they can just buy the interest in the project. In Kosovo, Kosovo is a brand new discovery. On the fourth hole, very unusual. We've got a lot more work to do there. And the company coming in, Burncut, can earn up to 85%. And in order to do that, they have to go feasibility study, and then we're at 15% at that point. We're joint venture partners, so we would have to fund our 15%. So at that point, we could start to have to raise money to keep up with our 15% and get diluted, which is a natural thing in this industry. Or Burncut could come out and try and buy the company or buy the 15% back. The fact that a lot of the people closely involved with our company changes our thought pattern on these a bit. We're not running this as if we're highly paid management. We're running this company as shareholders, for the shareholders. So if we can make a big gain on one of these projects, we're happy to do that. And that money won't sit in the company. That money would be dividend out to the shareholders. And that's just how we think. We're here to build companies for the shareholders, take those kinds of risks. And luckily, we've been very successful lately. Of course, a geologist would say it's their expertise. And I would agree with them in a lot of cases. 2 discoveries in 1 year is quite amazing. But we've got a lot going on. We don't know what's going to happen. All I know at this stage is we've got a lot more work to do on these 2 discoveries, and we should have a great year with a lot of good drill results coming out.
I want to make a comment on the 6 grams per ton. I mean, you mentioned while we were discussing that, companies actually look at 1 gram, which, I'm not very favorable to. I mean, I learned long ago, and not a geologist, but, grade is king. What's interesting is there's another company that I am fairly well associated with that has 3 grams per ton out of cell phones. Yeah, and that's because the smartphones started using gold, how long they've been around. So, that's a pretty easy e-waste, e-recycling situation, because as you know, there's not just gold in cell phones, there's other, minerals as well, so rare earth elements as well. So, it pays to recycle. And I just want to point out that you can recycle, an electronic goodie at a higher grade than some of these gold projects that are, in the 1.5 gram situation. You're at 6, so that's robust. As you said, you might have gone down to throats to really tell. You're going to cross drill, make sure it's really
That's
there,
right. Yep.
how thick it is, et cetera. So it's not to get too excited about, but I appreciate your directness and your honesty about that. A lot of people don't understand it, and it's one of my jobs really to make sure that they do, or do my best. So I think we've really covered it. I wanted to point out that you guys are kind of the exception, not the rule in your peer group, meaning the exploration companies for all aspects are almost dead because of the industry as a whole being so low priced, but you've gone contra the trend and significantly well based on your share price and your 2 discoveries. The financial structure, I think, is favorable to very favorable. We admit there could be dilution in the future. So I've covered it from my perspective as an investor. Is there anything I haven't asked that you think that our viewers should know about the company?
Well, I think the exciting part is that we're transitioning this company from a little exploration company with these discoveries we have, and we're taking it to the next level, which my group has done before. And it's a fun transition to go through. And so I think we're on a really good, a bit of a roll right now. And so I think it's going to be a great year for us. We've got a lot of work to do still. And it is still highly risky. And like you say, you've got to keep getting those good grades and understanding the deposit. And the ones in Kosovo, this is one drill hole we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more work to do. So it'll be interesting to me, hopefully very exciting for all of our shareholders over the next year. And we've got a lot of work to do, but it'll be fun.
Okay, great. And the last thing I have to say for authorities' purposes is I am not a shareholder at this time, but I may become one in the future.
Thank you very much.
Okay.